Hi everyone, we're with Sally today. Sally's new to Northern Life. She joined us early days of COVID, probably about April, online. And she's in a new season at the moment, but the last one was a pretty tough one. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Sally?
I became a Christian when I was at university, and around about the same time met my future husband, and then we married and eventually started a family. When we had our first, around about the time we had our first daughter, was when his mental health started to really deteriorate, and he started to talk about leaving. From there, by the time we then had two daughters, he did actually leave when I had a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old. And that was the first time that the Lord really taught me to rely on Him and Him alone, because, you know, that was what I had. He was there for me without fail, and He guided me through handling the possibility that I might be a single parent. So my husband did return after he'd been away for 6 months. He'd realised that being separate from his family didn't solve his problem, make him feel better. Eventually, due to his deteriorating mental health, he'd been diagnosed with bipolar, and he ultimately ceased work. I had taken on doing everything I possibly could to make everything run smoothly and try to keep things normal for us as a family where I could.
And so during those really hard times, what was God saying to you?
God was He was just there for me. You know, I didn't have a husband that I could share with, relate, you know, problem solve with, like just deal with all of the emotions. Instead, I found myself in what became this sort of long-running conversation with the Lord, and He became my confidant.
So you adjusted to that in a sense, those demands?
Yeah.
But things continued to get
Yeah.
harder?
Yeah. So eventually, 2016, we reached a point where my husband's father became sick with cancer and didn't have long to live. I stepped back and just let them have as much time together as possible, because I knew that time was limited. And then ultimately, September 2016, my father-in-law died, and my husband came home and announced shortly afterwards that he was going to leave. And I thought, having been there before, well, I pray harder. I read books on, you know, working through issues in difficult Christian marriages and trying to solve the issues. Met with the pastor of the church that I was at the time, and just tried to, again, hold it all together and get it working. But, you know, it was just incredibly hard. I had tried to be in control of everything, and the Lord needed to show me that I wasn't in control and that His way was a better way. And He did that in a fairly dramatic fashion. So my husband wrote me a letter, essentially that it was all wrong and that it was all my fault. And I didn't realise at the time that he also, a couple of days after he'd sent that to me, he also emailed it to our daughters and to his brothers, and then he tried to take his own life. So I found myself then at his bedside in ICU with him on life support, praying. And as I prayed, I just felt the Lord saying to me that the struggle was over for me, and it was time to move into a new phase in my life. I knew at that point that life would not be without its struggles. They were going to be a different set of problems and struggles, but the Lord was with me, and He's still by my side, and He's still my confidant, and I still have the long-running conversation with Him.
And you talked earlier about a song that
Yeah,
has helped you.
my favourite song that we sing in church is "In Christ Alone," and it just resonates so much with me. You know, He's my light, my strength, my song. He's there for me, and in every way.